Hello, and welcome back to the Cut Tape Podcast. I am Zach, or Zachary, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Tristan.
Hello.
And Ryan.
What it do?
As we mentioned in our previous episode, Bruno is still currently absent. But here we are talking about a classical 80s movie. Something that embodies the 80s spirit of a teenager. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I started that off so strong too.
Furious.
Furious Bueller.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. As usual, we are going to be talking about our technical stuff right at the beginning, and if we recommend it. But our plot synopsis is going to be kind of intertwined with the quote-unquote spoiler section. It's not really going to be a spoiler section because, the movie came out in 1986. We're just going to talk about, what the movie is and, how we've come to appreciate it today. So, here we go. What do you guys think? First impressions?
Well, I've seen Ferris Bueller a lot of times. I know when I was a kid, I think my parents introduced me to this movie when I was about, let's say, 9, 10. And I didn't really, grasp a lot of things. And the more I've watched it over the years, I'm like, wow, this is actually a pretty good movie. And it's just an 80s classical movie,
Yeah, it's hard. I would say it's hard to give first impressions, like you said, on something like Ferris Bueller, since it's such a classic. I think everybody's seen this movie.
But I guess
maybe not,
first impressions as now. We're all at that point where we can movies for what they are.
I've talked to a few people and they said they've never watched Ferris Bueller, and I was like, wow,
really?
That's crazy.
Kind of surprising.
Yeah.
It's that I feel like everybody should have seen it by now. It's that classic movie that, like I said, to me embodies the spirit of an 80s teenager.
Yeah.
I guess now it's almost 40 years old. The people who were teenagers when this movie came out, who, it was for, are now, 60-year-olds.
Yeah, in their 60s, yeah.
Grandparents. But, yeah, I don't know. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is just one of those 80s classics. Something like The Breakfast Club, which I think it's directed by the same guy.
John Hughes. John Hughes directed a lot of movies throughout the 80s and 90s and I think early 2000s. And I did a pretty good job. He did a lot of good movies,
He did Home Alone.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Man, this guy did everything.
He was banging out movies left and right. And fun fact, from Michigan, Lansing, MI. He's a MI boy.
Just like Uncle Cracker.
Oh boy.
Go ahead, Zach.
I'm trying to think about how I get it. John Hughes, back to that. With the two 80s movies that he has produced, the two main 80s movies that everybody thinks of when they think of John Hughes. I guess 16 Candles, but that's besides the point. Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Breakfast Club really, really stick out as being something that really manifests the idea that being the kid in the 80s, what that is about. Whether it's being the cool kid or the kid stuck in detention, he puts nail right in the coffin. He does a great job. He literally lays it all out. It's great.
Oh my God, John Hughes did everything. He did every classic movie. I'm looking now at the stuff he did. Wow, he really did. He's got The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, Pretty in Pink, Uncle Buck, Home Alone, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Christmas Vacation.
He did one of my favorite.
And The Great Outdoors.
He did Flubber. That is one of my favorite
Dennis
movies.
the Menace.
And Beethoven. Oh my God.
He did Next, featuring Nick Cage.
Finally,
Mr. Mom.
Everybody's got a Nick Cage movie. He did that movie 2 years before he died.
That's depressing.
What a terrible way to go out.
All right, well.
Well, I guess, aside from the tangent on the
John
director,
Hughes.
I guess I'd never really looked into John Hughes' work before, but geez. So I guess knowing that he made all those, it's no surprise that this is just another classic. Yeah, this is another one of those movies that to me, like Fantastic Mr. Fox, is going to be kind of hard to judge a ton because it's so
nostalgic, if you will.
Yeah, like I've seen this movie 100 times, and I've never been like, wow, that sucked. Like, you know, I've always liked it, so I don't know.
I guess we can talk about like the technical aspects we liked about it, casting and director choices. Having Ferris Bueller break the fourth wall is the best part of the movie.
I really.
This is like the advent of the popularization of the fourth wall break in Ferris Bueller's, so much so that it was referenced in Deadpool in 2016, which is like the fourth wall break movie.
The end cutscene. Why are you still here?
Yeah.
Go on, get out of here.
Just the way
end credits.
He does it so nonchalantly as an actor.
Yeah.
It's so perfect.
Yeah, I do like the all those I wouldn't say cutaways, but when it'll transition just from like being a conversation to like him talking and the other person's now out of it. And I did know, did you guys watch, so this movie has like a scene that goes alongside the credits.
Yeah.
With Ed Rooney.
Yeah.
And at the very end, he also looks right into the camera.
Yeah, I did notice that too.
I thought that was funny. I like that, stuff like that. And I will, before we get more talking into it, with this movie, an important thing to note is that sometimes you got to separate the art from the artist. The actor, Jeffrey Jones, who played Ed Rooney, was convicted in 2002 of being a pedophile, basically. Like, he had illicit materials that he definitely shouldn't have had as an adult man and did some creepy-ass things.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going in with full knowledge of that, but I think even if the person behind the art is a bad guy, you can still look at it and kind of take it as it is, but it's also important to remember who you're supporting, I think.
He does the character well, despite what he's done. And that sounds bad.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but, you know, a lot of people who are good actors are a little dubious.
A little weird. A little strange.
They have some dubious activities.
Mm-hmm. I also want to say
many such cases.
The casting for Ferris Bueller.
Matthew Broderick.
Boy.
Walter White.
Great pick. I can't see anybody else as Ferris Bueller but him. You know, it's just a great pick.
Yeah.
Same thing with Cameron. Alan Ruck. Can't see anybody else as Cameron.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to go back and see, like, I wonder what actor could have done this better when it's a role that happened 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Mark Hamill.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think Matthew Broderick did a great job in this film. This is kind of like his performance, right? That's what everybody knows him for, except for that Civil War movie he did. What was that called?
You were asking the wrong person.
And he was also in Lion King. He voiced Simba.
What?
You didn't know that?
No. What?
You didn't know that? Oh my goodness.
No, I didn't know that.
He definitely
also
was not the singing voice,
Glory.
though, was he?
Oh yeah, adult Simba. Oh yeah.
Adult Simba, not kid Simba. No.
I knew he voiced adult Simba.
Oh,
Glory is the movie I'm thinking
Glory,
he stars in one of my least favorite movies, Godzilla 1998.
Yeah, Godzilla 19. That was the other thing.
Yep.
I hate that movie. I'm like one of the biggest Godzilla fans on the planet. Matthew Broderick. Why?
He probably didn't write the script for that. So
Regardless, that's not the worst thing to be involved in.
Godzilla 1998.
Was that his last movie? Please.
No.
No, he's been in stuff.
He's been in stuff.
He was in the B movie.
Inspector Gadget. Thank God.
Project X.
He was in the B. Was he in Project X?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, the original project.
Original.
The one from the 80s, not the one from like 2010.
No,
or
whatever.
whatever. I guess I had forgotten that he was the adult voice of Simba.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so technical aspects beyond Matthew Broderick. Yeah, I'd say all the casting was pretty good. I think everybody definitely had a lot of charisma and
they brought what they needed.
yeah, they were all pretty funny. There wasn't a character who I didn't like seeing. It's a very funny movie all around as well.
Funny. Very funny movie.
Despite it being like 80s, that's perfect. It makes you laugh no matter what time period you're from. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, if you're a time traveler from the 1400s, these jokes are going to be hitting for you.
You're going to be like, oh my God,
you ain't never
so funny.
seen nothing like this. Beyond that, this movie is, the dialogue is awesome. They have so many quotable lines. I mean, there's people who can tell you every line of Ferris Bueller because it's so quotable. And watching it through in my notes, I just have a bunch of quotes written down.
I wrote down famous quote. You know, you got to stop and look at life every once in a while because it will fly past you. Like that sums it up. But it's not the actual quote, but just summing it up.
I wrote down, "You heartless wench."
That's a good one.
And the Save Ferris. You know,
that was a running joke. Save Ferris throughout the movie.
Yeah, running joke. The big old rumor of Save Ferris. You know,
it was done so well. Like it wasn't like forced upon you or anything. It was just there in the background.
Yeah, and it was in the newspaper. It was on.
It was on the billboard at the baseball game.
At the Cubs game at Wrigley Field. It was on the water tower. You like seeing that?
Yeah, so I think one of my favorite lines in the whole movie is there's a part where Edward Rooney, the principal, is talking to Ferris Bueller, and he says, you're going to look back, and 15 years from now, you're going to look back, and you're going to see that you have ruined your life because, you disrespected me. And that's funny because 15 years after this movie came out, Jeffrey Jones was convicted of possession of child pornography. So
that's the art right there.
How the turntables, man. That's really...
John Hughes was ahead of his time.
He saw it coming. He was like, 2002? It's not your year, Jeff.
I really like how they show school being really boring.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah,
of kids just staring and sleeping.
The economics teacher. Bueller.
Every shot in the school is like very flat.
Yeah.
And everybody speaks very monotone, and it keeps cutting to the kids who are like falling asleep on their desks. And just, you first get introduced to the high school scenes with the economics teacher taking attendance, and that's like he's Bueller, and it just goes on.
Then he just asks, "Where's Bueller?" Then some girl goes off, says, "My blank and so and so and so and so heard that he was sick."
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's funny. I don't exactly know how Ferris Bueller has so many connections at the school, but we don't know his whole life. It's the movie is kind of just like a day in the life. It's not without Ed Rooney being the antagonist actively, there wouldn't even really be like a 3-act structure to the movie almost.
Yeah.
It'd just be kind of like a day in the life movie like Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
But I obviously like Ed Rooney as the antagonist and think he's iconic. So yeah, but the movie is like that where a lot of scenes are just, not to say it takes away from the plot, but a lot of scenes are there just because they're funny. And it just does a good job of showing the goings-on of Ferris Bueller's day-to-day life.
It's just so relatable. Like, I could pick... This is going to sound bad. I fell asleep in class a lot, and I can picture myself doing that exact thing during, per se, like an economics lecture. Like, that captured it perfectly. And apart from the relatableness, any of us could have pulled a Ferris Bueller. I'm sure we have.
I could have skipped school, driven to inner city Chicago, joined a parade, destroyed several vehicles, lied about my identity.
Not likely. I'm just not the exact same thing. I'm saying we could have, as kids, said, "Hey, I'm sick. I'm gonna go throw a party while my parents are away."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Generally, when I stayed home from school, though, I just went back to sleep for like 4 more hours, and then I don't know, did nothing.
I did.
Ferris was.
I did not.
He was going hard in the paint, even though he wasn't actually.
Ferris, he was hard to paint. That's hard to be that.
It's hard, man.
Ferris is that cool kid.
He's the cool kid.
So this movie, I guess, going back to we keep going on these tangents of, I don't know, stuff we like about the movie, but I'll go back to the kind of technical stuff. This is a movie that I think does a very good job right away establishing all the characters, all their motives, so that you can understand very quickly what the characters are about, and it doesn't feel rushed or forced. It all feels pretty natural, and it flows pretty nicely in the beginning, and like at the very, very beginning, when you have Ferris first pretending to be sick and his parents come in, and you can kind of catch the vibe that he's like kind of a pampered guy who pretends to be more innocent than he is, and his sister hates him.
Yeah.
Me. And he has like doting parents, and they're kind of dull. So I will say, much like Jeffrey Jones, this movie also has some great foreshadowing, because Charlie Sheen is in it.
Dude, he looks like a crack addict.
Yeah, like I said.
Sorry.
God damn it, Ryan. Like I said, great foreshadowing, because they have Charlie Sheen in a not a holding cell, just a police station.
Yeah.
And he's in there for drugs. And man, another nail on the head from
John Hughes, man.
He knew what everybody was about. He definitely typecasted all his actors.
He came in swinging. He knew what to do.
No, the stupid little side tangent, but the music is good. A lot of the movie is set in the city of Chicago, so there's a lot of jazz and stuff, and there's also these great establishing shots when they go there, like where it must have been taken from a helicopter, like around the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
I did like that a lot. I wrote that down in my notes as well.
Mm-hmm.
The montages of the city. And another thing too, like the art museum scene. That was also really nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That was a nice. I wrote that down. That was kind of interesting because it just takes you right out of everything going on, and suddenly Ferris, because there's an A plot and a B plot, and the A plot is Ferris Bueller, his best friend and his girlfriend go skip school for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Antics ensue. And then the B plot is kind of between Ed Rooney, the principal, and Ferris's sister trying to stop their antics that are ensuing. And it's funny because at one point you cut from the B plot back to the A plot, and it's just Ferris and company standing in this art museum with classical music playing, just looking at different paintings and stuff.
Cameron is just staring.
Yeah, Cameron has locked eyes with this.
Cameron is in the zone.
Young fella in the painting. But yeah, I think that Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a very technically sound movie. It has a lot of memorable shots and a lot of memorable music choice. I think notably, one of the scenes includes the opening crawl music for Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just thinking of.
Which is definitely interesting. But yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff like that. It's very 80s, very pop culture-y, and it's fun, technically well-made movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an 80s movie, but it's a really good 80s movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not to say the 80s had a bunch of bad movies.
No, it's just like,
actually the 80s did have a bunch of bad movies. I'm going to take that back. You're right. The 80s had a bunch of bad movies.
Pretty sure Thanksgiving was made in the 80s. I will double check my info on that.
I just want to say that I really enjoyed the soundtrack and like the OST. I really enjoyed it. Like, you know, Don Cachet or Twist and Shout.
Well, that scene's awesome.
Yeah. It's just, it all ties together really well with the whole, plot. I don't know. It just fits really well.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. They make a lot of choices that, getting back to the fourth wall breaks, there's a lot of choices made that make it feel like 1-to-1 with Ferris. Like when he's talking to the audience while breaking the fourth wall, it almost feels like a talking head segment from like The Office or any other mockumentary or documentary.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it like kind of keeps the audience up with what Ferris is thinking and doing, and he's informing them of his perspective, basically, of how he sees the events unfolding around him. There's just a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, it's really, excuse me. Yeah, it's a very revolutionary movie. I think nowadays we don't get a lot of like family comedies that are also good movies, and I think that's one thing you can appreciate about the director's filmography is most of his movies are family comedies that everybody can enjoy and most people will find funny, and they're also well made and can thereby be appreciated by anyone.
Like when we went off on our tangent at the beginning, obviously John Hughes has so many memorable movies. Like, that's insane how he made them all connect to adults and teens and even kids at the time.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah, I did not know that was all one dude. That's so weird.
That is weird to me. Like, honestly, looking back on it, I was like, oh, I guess I've seen John Hughes' name on the poster, but I've never really thought about that.
Yeah, very unmemorable name.
He was banging them out left and right. Banging them out.
Banging them out good.
Oh, gosh.
Don't be saying that. Should we give a recommendation?
I think we can move on to plot synopsis. So I'll start the recommendation thing. Obviously, I think this movie is a must-watch. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's only like an hour and 40 minutes. It's not going to suck away your whole day. And if it's, you want something to watch, it's a Sunday afternoon. Turn on Ferris Bueller. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
That's what I watched it on.
Yeah.
Best time to watch it is when you are skipping school. For sure.
Yes. Instead of getting out and doing anything for yourself, just watch the movie.
Yeah, just watch Ferris Bueller.
Where a guy does it. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna.
You good, Ryan?
I had a stroke there. Yeah, 100%. I would definitely recommend this movie.
That's what you were trying to say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely watch this movie. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? This is an old movie. Come on, you got it.
It's a movie that our parents definitely showed us when we were younger.
Oh yeah,
and if your parents haven't showed you it yet, just take your time and go watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like it's on them or anything, but go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it, man. Just go watch it.
So we're gonna move on to our plot synopsis / what would normally be our spoilers section. But again, I don't think there's necessarily a ton to spoil about Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, it's not really a spoiler movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's not like knowing where the plot goes is going to ruin it for you. But if you're the kind of person where that does happen, pause the podcast, go watch Ferris Bueller. Because why haven't you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
What are you doing, man?
You animal. I hate you.
You fool!
Go watch the movie.
Once you watch it and come back, you'll be all right. It'll be okay. Anyways, so the movie starts, and we see Ferris laying in his bed, right? And his parents are talking to them and kind of like giving him baby talk, and he's kind of baby talking back. He's like, "No, I gotta go to school. I got a test today.
I got a test today."
And you can see like his sister in the doorway kind of making faces at him, and he's kind of making faces back. And then his parents have to go to work, so they leave the room, and we instantly get the mood of the movie when Ferris sits straight up and looks into the camera and goes, "They bought it." And then it cuts to him setting up all his contraptions and getting everything ready for his day off.
I also like the faking out the parents list. And it was like, you gotta lick your palms to make them soft and clammy.
Yeah. Ugh.
And like, come on,
I
Ferris.
spin my hand and rub it together.
How to effectively fake out your parents.
Yeah.
Rub spit in your hand.
Yeah. Lick your hands, grab your mom by the head.
Go me, 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 me.
Oh, yeah. So then he kind of goes through his stuff. He sets up like a recording of snoring playing on his stereo, and then he has a kind of a jerry-rigged system with a dummy in his bed to make it look like he's sleeping there, so that when somebody opens the door, it will move subtly as if it's him alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then he calls up his best friend, Cameron. And that's when we cut to Cameron, who
is actually dying.
He's actually sick. And it's funny because when it cuts to Cameron's house, it's just a completely different vibe from the upbeat Ferris Bueller.
I thought it was so funny.
It's a very funny juxtaposition. I think having Cameron in this movie is he's just works great as a foil to Ferris, because he's much more of a pessimist, and he's like actually has problems.
He also we'll get to this later, but he definitely steals the heart of the show, a movie. For me personally,
he's my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hesitate to guess that that would also ring true for many people who have seen this movie a number of times. And so it cuts to Cameron, and it's playing like this weird music in his house.
Some like synth music, and then it cuts back to Ferris, and it's like tropical, and he's drinking Long Island iced teas. He's like, Cameron, babe, come over, come on. He's like, shut up, Ferris, I'm dying. He's like, that's not an excuse, get your ass over here.
It cuts back to Cameron, and he's like singing now.
When Cameron was in Egypt's land,
let my Cameron go. And it's all
one of my favorite parts of the movie. This still makes me laugh to this day. Is when Ferris says he's probably sitting in his car debating on whether or not he's gonna come right now, and then it cuts to him in the car staring, and it's so funny.
Staring into the void, sniffling,
debating on whether or not to go.
Yeah. It's so funny.
He'll just keep calling me until
He gets out of the car, the camera stays in one spot, then you see him come right back to the car from the back.
He's having a rage quit moment in the background.
You can see him through the back window of the car just freaking out.
Cameron's great.
Great character. Alan Ruck.
Great guy. I like him.
You did a good job. Good job.
Give him a handshake once, he's a cool guy.
Great guy. He's just a good guy, just all around.
All right. Where am I?
So we are at the part where I think now we get introduced to the Bueller scene, our first school scene.
Bueller?
No, that's when we. No, that happens before.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Bueller, and then they go, Ferris isn't here, and then he goes, Fry, and it cuts to Cameron.
Fry,
yeah, because he's also missing.
Yeah.
Okay,
so after that scene, what is it? Does it go to Mr. Rooney?
They try to get Sloane out.
But don't we see Rooney first?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they see Rooney, and then Rooney is...
He knows about Ferris's antics.
Yeah, he knows about Ferris.
He's on it.
Yeah.
He's keyed in.
He knows what's up.
So he calls Ferris's mom up. He's like, your son has 9 absences.
And then we see Ferris's 1980s hacker skills coming in as he manually erases the absences from the school's computer remotely from his house somehow. But it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
I'm not going to fault the movie too much for that, but...
It's like Transformers when Sam Witwicky does it.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you guys not remember that scene?
Do not ever reference Transformers.
What are you... don't...
I am going to lose my mind.
They got it from Ferris Bueller. I'm telling you.
Okay, so then after that, they try to get Sloane out of class. And when they get Sloane out of class...
Sloane being Ferris's girlfriend.
Being Ferris, yes, exactly. And the way they get Sloane out of class is they fake her grandmother's death. And Sloane has to put on an act like she's all sad, and when in fact her grandmother did not die.
Yeah.
But it's just a funny act. So Mr. Rooney, being all suspicious, is like a dead grandmother.
Oh my god.
A dead grandmother. So he tries calling up the father of Sloane. And that whole scene is just hilarious.
So it's one of the greatest antics, hashtag pranked scenes in the movie where they have Rooney being like, "What's Sloane Peterson's father's number?" And then they get a call, and it's from allegedly Sloane's father. And he takes it, and he thinks he's talking to Ferris, who's faking him out. But it's actually Cameron putting on a voice. And then, Rooney starts popping off. He's like, "Why don't you come here with your corpse?" And then we'll see, so I can see for myself. And then Ferris, geniusly, expertly, also calls the school. And we get the legendary, "Mr. Rooney, Ferris Bueller's on line 2," and then it cuts into the dramatic music and zooms in on Rooney's
just
face.
Terrified.
Loses his mind. That's a legendary. The music in that scene is great.
Yeah, that was a good addition to that scene.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's
then it goes to Rooney freaking out, saying he's sorry and all that jazz.
We see. We also get a little tidbit of Cameron and Ferris's relationship when Cameron kind of blows their cover a little bit and tells
he kind of broaches it.
Yeah, Rooney to be out there with Sloane, and Ferris. What does he do? He kicks him in the ass or something.
He slaps the phone out of his hand and kicks him right in the butt because he said, "Maybe we should meet sometime for lunch or something. We'll sort this thing out."
And Cameron's like, "You hurt my feelings, Ferris." So then we get to one of the big recurring plot points, being Cameron's father's cherry red Ferrari, 1961.
Only 100 were made.
Only 100 were made, and it's his father's prized car, and it's brought up many times that Cameron's father values that car more than he values his relationship with his family or anything like that. But Ferris doesn't think they could get away with pulling up to the school to pick up Sloane and Cameron's clunker. So they instead take Cameron's dad's Ferrari out for a ride, much to Cameron's dismay.
Yeah.
The 250 GT California Spider. Only 100 were made. My father loves this car more than life itself. He doesn't drive it. He only wipes it with a diaper.
Yeah. So they take the car and they have this scene where Rooney walks out with Sloane to pass her off to who he believes to be her father, but it's just Ferris in disguise. He wears a trench coat.
He looks like Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, he looks like Inspector Gadget, basically.
Foreshadowing.
That is foreshadowing.
A little foreshadowing.
Is he Inspector Gadget? Now I gotta go.
I don't think he's Inspector Gadget. I think he's just in the movie. Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't think I've seen 1999 Inspector Gadget.
I think he is.
But yeah, it's so when he passes Sloane off to
oh my god, he's Inspector Gadget.
He is?
Yeah.
Wow. That's another
John Hughes.
Yeah, he was keyed in. He knew what was up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passes Rooney passes Sloane off to Ferris, and they kiss each other on the lips. And,
they make out so hard.
Do you have a kiss for daddy?
Do you have a kiss for daddy? And he's just like, guess that's how it is in that family. Yeah, and that's just another. Every scene in this movie is legendary.
Old Cameron sitting under the little flap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Cameron. You comfortable in there?
No.
Hi, Sloane. No.
Oh, yeah. And then they head out for their day off.
Yeah, the day off.
And it shows they have kind of a, I guess not a B plot, but like a C plot of Ferris's parents, and his mom stops by the house to check on him, and it shows her getting tricked by all of his mechanisms.
Yeah, the contraption in his room.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. It made me laugh out loud when I watched it because the machine that he set up to make a snoring sound, it gets like really garbled, and it sounds like the diarrhea sound effect.
I like how you could clearly see the mannequin arm in the bed too, shaking.
Yeah. Oh my God. Ferris was smart, but I mean, he wasn't. He wasn't being that smart.
A genius.
He wasn't a genius, though.
Yeah.
Then
they go to Chicago.
Yeah. Then they go to
Ferris
Chicago.
and crew take Chicago.
They're taking on the big city.
Yeah. So I don't really. So they do a lot of things that cost or would cost at least a decent amount of money. I don't really know where they got the money. I don't think it's like established, but
Here's a $5.
Ferris is from a well-off family. I can believe that he would have some spending cash.
And it's 1980. Things were kind of, cheaper back then. Well, I mean, it is in the city, too. I mean, but things are more cheaper.
Maybe my $30 meal that's going to cost $76 now.
Yeah. The inflation,
My $1 comic book that's going to cost $850 now. So it shows them going through. The first thing they do when they get to the city is they drop the Ferrari off at a car park, and hand it off to a chauffeur for him to park and take care of. Yeah, just some dude.
Rando, yeah.
And Ferris gives him a $5 to take care of it. So the dude and his buddies just take the car out for a joyride when Ferris, Cameron, and Stallone go walking around the city. And they do a bunch of stuff. This is like the second act is like the antics section. Mm-hmm. It's like antics ensue, basically.
Yep.
They go to like a high-class restaurant, and Ferris impersonates the King of Sausage.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Yes.
Abe Froman.
To get a seat there, and they have to like avoid his dad because it turns out his dad is there.
I also wrote that down. Close calls, being caught with his parents or with whoever. And that was like a reoccurring theme as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go to Sears Tower.
Yeah, they go to Sears Tower. They have a cool shot of them looking down into the city by getting up on the railings and like looking through the window.
Then they go to the stockbroker place because Cameron's like, I think I see my dad down there. And then the next scene is Cameron doing all the obscene gestures that all the stockbrokers are doing.
Not obscene gestures.
They're pretty obscene
not like
gestures.
flipping them off and pretending to jerk off. He's just like making hand signs because he's a blood. But so yeah, and then during this second act, the B plot is progressing via
Rooney
trying to hunt down Ferris and like going
where does he go? He goes somewhere else first.
He goes to a restaurant or a bar or whatever.
Oh yeah, he ends up at like some like joint where probably I'm assuming teenagers would hang out.
Like a piece of place.
Yeah, he goes to arcade is what it is.
Yeah, arcade, yeah.
He goes to an arcade and he walks up on someone with short dark hair like Ferris, and he goes behind him and he goes, "All right, the jig is up. Your ass is mine now." And it turns around and it's a woman. That's kind of a funny little gag.
Yeah.
But he's on the hunt, for Ferris.
He's on the prowl.
And during that also, Ferris's sister, Jeannie, is getting fed up with people at school talking about Ferris getting well soon because a rumor has spread in the school that he's like really sick. And
save Ferris.
Yeah, save Ferris.
Save Ferris.
And so she ends up also wanting to have Ferris get caught, not as aggressively as Rooney, but she also goes home. I forget, how does she get to go home?
That was not explained.
I don't think it was.
She
like
just left.
She just left.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm sure there's some explanation that I missed, but she may have just taken off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she also ends up going home. Yeah, so we go back. We see from there, after all the stuff with Rooney and I think it's after the arcade scene, they cut to the museum.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the classical music playing, and like Ferris and Cameron and Sloane like posted up in different positions, like looking at different paintings and stuff. And there's this one shot of like Cameron staring at the face of a little boy in a painting, and it keeps like getting closer on his eyes and then back at the painting's eyes and then closer on his eyes and back at the painting. And it's just like cool shots basically, and like.
And they're really clean too. They look really like clean and clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. I like that. I just looked at 80s. I don't know. 80s camera work. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't know why I just talked like. Yeah, it's a cool collection of shots, and it's funny because it's such a juxtaposition to how silly the other stuff is. Yeah. So it ends up being like almost a visual gag. And then we see from there the people, the dudes from the car park who have taken their car from a joyride. That's where the Star Wars music is. It's them like jumping the car over a hill.
Those slow-mo shots were really nice too.
It's all in slow-mo, yeah.
And then you see the city in the background or in the foreground or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really, really clean.
They're under the car. Car's jumping over camera. Yeah. City's in the background. That would technically be right.
That's the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it showed for some reason there's a parade going on in Chicago. I don't remember why.
It's like some like heritage thing.
Some German heritage thing. It seemed like it was German themed.
And
they're in a taxi.
Yeah, somehow. Or continue.
They're in a taxi, and coincidentally, the father is in the Ferris's father is in the other taxi right next to them, and Ferris is like, before Cameron notices that Ferris's dad is in the other cab. Cameron's kind of complaining like, "Oh, I've had a bad day. Didn't see anything good." And Ferris is like, "What do you mean? We went to an art museum. We went to a baseball game. We went to the tallest tower in the world. What do you mean you've had a bad day?" And Cameron like gets all big eyes, like guys, and says, "Your dad is in the other cab." Yeah.
And they have like his dad look over and then do a double take, but the second time he looks over, Ferris and Cameron have like slumped down, and it's just Sloane in sunglasses. Sorry, and it's like the National Lampoon gag where he's looking at the girl in the car next to him and he's making the eyes.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Kind of a funny little bit there. And then
that leads to the parade.
Yes, and then Ferris somehow hijacks or just like gets onto a float and nobody stops him, and he just whatever. And it leads to him like lip syncing several songs and like making announcements over the microphone. And we get Twist and Shout.
Twist and Shout.
Which is an iconic scene from this movie. It's Ferris lip syncing Twist and Shout, and like everybody in Chicago is going hog wild.
That's awesome. That just shows like the meaning of the movie is to have fun. And it's perfect because like you even get Ferris's father dancing back in his office. You have everybody who's watching the parade jamming out.
It's also funny because it's like over the top.
The dude's doing backflips in the background.
Like doing backflips.
Yeah.
There's like crowds of people all dancing in sync.
It shows that the movie you are watching is really fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
It is a fun movie. And then we get finally Ed Rooney has resorted to just going to Ferris's house,
which is weird.
Weird.
That's so weird.
He's too really into
weird.
It's not that serious, bro. It's not that serious.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, there's some lines from that. Ed, in his quest to break into the house, ends up
getting thwarted.
Getting entangled with the Rottweiler that the family has.
We never see this Rottweiler either.
We never see no family member references, but there's a Rottweiler in the backyard, and Ed Rooney has some. He what does he do? He baits it with something. I don't remember.
Well, how it happens? He knocks on he rings the doorbell, and then the message that Ferris left, pre-recorded, and so he realizes, oh, it's a pre-recorded message. So he's just gonna go snoop around, and he goes around the house. He steps in a bunch of mud. Gets his shoes all dirty.
Dude, I hate that kind of stuff. It was like, oh, come on.
You could hear the squishes.
The squelch.
It's funny, but I don't want to hear the squelch.
Yeah, and then he goes to the back. He gets all his stuff all clean, and then he realizes there's a doggy door there. Mm-hmm. Then he peeps in. He looks around. Then he sees the Rottweiler, just give him the big old eyes and the big old teeth. And
that Rottweiler is snarling.
Yeah, he is. He was hungry.
He's ready to fight, and it comes out and it's Ed versus the dog. I don't remember what he does to preface this, but he has a legendary line where he goes, "Look what Uncle Ed has for you, you little fucker," and that line always makes me fucking cry.
It's like something in the flower that he throws back there.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever flowers has, I don't know.
Something to make dog go night-night.
Yeah, dog go night-night.
That dog slept for a long time because we never see it again.
I think we do at the very end.
We do at the very end.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
But yeah, he just, breaks into the house, and it's funny because Rooney thinks that the sounds that Jeannie is making are coming from Ferris, and Jeannie thinks the sounds that Rooney is making are coming from Ferris, and so they both eventually round this corner and jump out at each other, and obviously Jeannie screams her head off because it's just a random dude in the house, and she doesn't even recognize him at first, and she hits him with a front kick
3 times
straight from God and plasters him, and then she runs away, and he gets out, and she calls the cops, and for some reason they think it's a phony call, and let's say she gets arrested. Mm-hmm. Which that's always kind of weird for me.
Well, it's because I don't think they believe her because
they didn't believe her, but still, there's no
reason to arrest her. I guess
you just take a police report on it. Dude has blood and footprints in the house, his shoes outside.
He drops his wallet.
Yeah,
there's a wallet right there.
Yeah, there's clear evidence right there that there's a dude in their house.
Didn't even hear her out for a second. She just got booked right away.
Okay, wait. I want to backtrack here really quick. Who hired a stripper for Ferris?
Oh,
Who hired the stripper for Ferris?
Probably someone from the school, one of the kids or something.
A stripper dressed up like a nurse comes to the door and delivers another legendary line, and it something to heal your pluck, because I'm in this who likes to, and then it gets cut off.
A funny little gag right there.
Who did that?
Yeah.
That's classic.
Save Ferris? Nurse hooker.
Ferris. Let's go.
Prostitute. I love.
Who are all the people with her too?
I don't know.
They're just randos, some old guys.
Oh my god! It's like a clown and a bunny.
He's getting ready for a bro.
Oh my god!
Everybody listening at home, go to .com.
No.
I'm just kidding. Actually, don't do that for real. Don't. I'm sorry for saying that.
Should we cut this out?
Yeah, we should cut this out.
Bruno, cut out everything that has to do with
editor note. Cut out everything. Delete this whole episode. I'm sorry.
I need you to cut out from 48. I'm gonna say.
All right, we're going to. I don't care if he cuts down.
48:50 to all the way to now. All right, back on Ferris Bueller.
Anyways. Geez, where do we? Oh, okay, so she's in the station now. She's getting booked. And they get Ferris and Cameron and Sloane get the car back, and they realize that the odometer now has an extra 100 miles on it that it didn't have before. Yeah. And
dun dun dun.
Because Cameron's dad knows the actual mileage on the car.
Cameron's dad be knowing the mileage.
He'd be knowing the mileage,
It sends Cameron into shock.
He goes into system shock for a while.
Goes into that meth-induced psychosis.
Oh my god.
Eventually they like go to a pool to hang out, and it's like Sloane and Ferris in the hot tub, and Cameron's sitting in a chair
on the diving board.
Oh yeah, he's sitting on the diving board.
Yeah.
And he like falls in, and like Ferris jumps in to pull him up and to save him, and then Cameron comes up. Ferris Bueller, you're my hero.
Iconic line right there.
Another legendary line
from Cameron.
Yeah.
And then it goes to
Sloane
them
in
back
jail.
at. Does it go back to?
Or not Sloane in jail. Jeannie in jail.
Jeannie back at jail.
Yeah.
Or does it go back to them at the garage? At Cameron's dad's garage.
We go to cracked out Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an odd. I thought that was an odd appearance from Charlie Sheen.
I understand why he was there though. He like teaches Sloane a valuable lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you be more like Ferris? You're the problem. Blah blah blah.
Why don't you skip? Your problem is with yourself. I am addicted to meth. That's what he said. That's what he says.
He has red rings under his eyes. He's pale.
He says, I am in a meth-induced psychosis.
You know he definitely killed like 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she falls in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
She has like a kiss with him. And then her mom's like, Jeannie, we gotta get out of here.
We gotta go, Jeannie.
We gotta go, Jeannie. You made me lose the Vermont deal.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then we go to the big lesson, I think, from Cameron.
The garage.
The garage scene.
The garage. So, Ferris is, for some reason, under the impression that putting a car in reverse takes the miles off of the odometer, which, of course, is not how that works. So they have the car up on bricks, or up on... No, it's just jacks, isn't it?
That's not a jack, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just running it in reverse. They realize that isn't working, and Cameron kind of freaks out. And then he like talks about how much he hates his dad, and like his dad's an a-hole, and he cares about the car more than his family. And
I like how in that scene there is like no music. It's just that's like the big lesson.
Mm-hmm. And so eventually Cameron's like, "Fuck it," and he
it's like kicking the car.
He like kicks the shit out of the car, and eventually it goes like we see the jacks bending back as he's kicking it. And then he stops right before it. He doesn't kick it on the last one where the jacks would have fallen over. And then a couple minutes later, after they're talking, he's like, all right, whatever. I'll deal with this. He, like, puts his hand on the car, and that's, like, the last thing it needs. And since the car has a brick on the pedal to make it keep going in reverse, it hits the ground and just goes in reverse right through. It's like a glass garage elevated up on an overlook.
Yeah, a
hill. And so the car just goes... and goes right into the woods and completely gets totaled. Yeah, but Cameron comes to term with that, and there's inspirational music as Cameron accepts that he will now be beaten by his father.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, we're gonna have a little chat when Morris gets home.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the car represents like Cameron having like a very absent father, obviously.
It represents like his inhibitions, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just seeing him like finally like deal with that and come to terms with it it's a very good character arc.
Yeah, Cameron has a nice character arc over the course of the movie.
Like we have Ferris.
I like it.
We have Ferris and Sloane just being all happy, you know.
And then Cameron going through a meth-induced psychosis.
Yeah. It's the third time we've said
long.
meth-induced psychosis in this
episode. I'm just
episode.
gonna keep saying it. That's the new...
That's our new bit.
I like that term.
That's what I'd be saying to people.
And then we cut to Ferris and Sloane. Like they're talking in the backyard. You know, end of the movie. Almost.
Having a little romantic moment.
And now Ferris has to jet. He has to
He looks at Sloane's watch. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go."
And she's like, "Oh, he wants to marry me."
And he runs through everybody's backyard. There's kind of a weird, not something they would do in a movie today. No, he's like running through everybody's backyard, running through their houses, taking their stuff.
As soon as you said that, when I watched this, I was like, they did that in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh yeah, they kind of did, but he wasn't like in their houses and like hitting on the women.
But like,
hi, I'm Ferris Bueller. Yeah. That's what he did
like,
to the woman.
Like they kind of like I think they've done that in, like maybe I can't recall all the movies, but I immediately thought of Spider-Man: Homecoming when I saw that. Sure, he wasn't doing what Ferris Bueller does in Spider-Man, but
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I could kind of see it.
And so he ends up racing home to beat his parents to the punch to be there so that they don't notice that he was lying. And there's this part where he's like running alongside his father who's driving and his dad looks over and doesn't recognize him immediately, so Ferris jets. That's kind of weird. Like
Tom Bueller, you are a dummy. You are oblivious.
It's the second time he didn't recognize him.
Like, bro, come on. You kind of dumb. You don't recognize your own son?
You are kind of a simpleton, my man. I am not going to lie.
You made me think of Bird Box when you said that.
Dang it. Yeah, so
Ferris makes it home.
Wraps up nicely.
Yeah.
It's a happy ending.
You know? Everything kind of wraps up nicely. He gets away with it. He tricks his family. In the end, Jeannie helps him get away with it. Rooney gets punished by... He has to ride back to the school on a bus full of kids, and he looks like hell. His suit's all torn up. He's missing a shoe.
I wrote down Ferris having the best day versus Mr. Rooney having the worst day ever.
Yeah, like everybody won besides Rooney.
Yeah.
Besides Rooney, which is good because I don't like Rooney.
That's like his whole point. He's supposed to lose.
Yeah. Although he does have a couple funny gags. One that I forgot to mention was when he's going to get Sloane out of the classroom and he's trying not to look panicked. So he's running in the hallway, and whenever he passes a door, he'll like posture up and like walk slowly, and then he'll run.
And then like 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got anything else to say, or are we gonna move on?
No, I don't.
No, we covered it. We covered what we liked. We covered the whole synopsis of what we liked.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So closing statements.
Ryan?
All right. Great classic movie, Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I really enjoyed the soundtrack, the score. I really thought it tied together with the whole film, the whole theme of the movie. The famous quotes, quotable lines in the whole movie, really nice. The 80s aesthetic, really liked that, really enjoyed that. John Hughes directing, the camera work, it's just all really clean. I'm going to give this 8.5 out of 10.
Solid.
Zach?
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is definitely a spiritual 80s movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our John Hughes. It's one of his movies. I feel like if I go back and watch all of his movies, I can tell it's a John Hughes movie now. And it's really good. I like everything it does. The fourth wall breaks are, to me, that, like I said earlier, the nonchalantness of like Ferris just doing it, just transitioning with ease into them, is something that I don't think any other fourth wall breaks, besides like maybe Deadpool, definitely Deadpool, can like even match. Mm-hmm. And it's in terms of film, but like that it was done so well. And like just Cameron, like we all said, he's our favorite character. He does a great job. I love Cameron. It's a good movie, 8.5 as well.
Yeah, I guess I'll agree with you guys here. I think it's Ferris Bueller is a timeless classic, extremely quotable. It's filled with relatable, believable, and some likable characters. It has a lot of charm. It has funny jokes. It's well made, well shot, well written. It has good music, and I guess, like I said before, it's kind of a must-watch movie if you haven't seen it. No matter what age group you belong to or when you were born, I think you'll find some jokes to laugh at and some relatable moments in this movie. I think Ferris Bueller overall is a solid 8 out of 10 for me, and yeah, I think that'll wrap us up. So, if you are on YouTube, click subscribe. Click subscribe. Click the subscribe button. Hit the bell button.
Hit the like button.
If you're not subscribed and you watch this long, why? Like, what?
What are you doing?
You're watching us for an hour and you're not even subscribed, dude? Come on. That's
subscribe, comment.
That's insulting. If you're on Spotify, hit the follow button, share it with your friends, forward it to everybody you know. You love it so much. It's the best content. Oh, you want to forward it. You want to forward it so bad.
Show it at your next Christmas outing, whatever episode we're on. Just do that.
I'm hypnotizing you.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, if you've already subscribed and hit the bell, leave a comment, leave a like. I love you. Tell us what you think of Ferris Bueller in the comments. We will heart your comment if we get something good and funny, something classic and not cringe. We'll pin it.
Yep.
But yeah, this has been another episode of Cut Tape, and we will see you next week when we review the greatest movie of all time, Bird Box.
No!
So,
let's go! Let's go!
So, yeah, I hope you're sitting on the edge of your seats waiting for that one, because it's a nail biter. It's really something else.
It really is.
Well, this has been Cut Tape, and signing off. We'll see you next time.
Hasta la vista.
Thank you for watching. Listening.
Adios.
Same thing.
Yeah, watching or listening is both.